No matter how far in time we go, history somehow always repeats itself. It is no different in the city now known as Neo-Gotham, a place that was once protected by that guy in the bat costume, now in a different time, of flying cars, robots, and giant cities. More dangerous than ever, because Batman hasn't been seen in years. This is the story of Terry McGinnis. Welcome to Origin. Late one night, Terry is in line at a club with his girlfriend Dana. That's when the Joker's gang shows up and starts causing trouble. One grabs Dana and goes to drive off with her, when Terry throws him off his bike. The gang then attempts to attack him, one by one. That's when he tries to get away from them. As he's driving on the outskirts of town, trying to lose them, he almost hits a man standing in the road. Swerving his bike to miss him, he crashes. As he recovers, the Jokers pull up to confront him. Surrounded, Terry tries to figure out how he's going to get out of this alive. That's when the older man from before comes up, warning the Jokers to stay off his land. They just laugh and start to advance, when all of a sudden one Joker attacks the old man. He dodges his punch and hits him 3 times with his cane, knocking him across the road. In shock, they all look at each other. Then they begin to attack. Terry moves to the old man's side. The old man takes one out, then 2, then the 3rd. Fighting together, Terry and the old man defeat the Jokers, running them off into the darkness. Right as Terry goes to thank the man, he realizes he's having some sort of attack. Grabbing his heart, the old man starts to fall to the ground. Terry catches him, asking what he can do to help. The man tells Terry to get his medicine in the house. So Terry helps him to his house, passing his guard dog, and gives him his medicine. The old man falls asleep, so Terry decides to leave. When he goes to open the front door, the guard dog is there barking. So instead of passing the dog, he decides it's a better idea to just call his dad to come pick him up. That's when he starts to hear something. It was a bat that was stuck behind the old man's grandfather clock. As he goes to investigate, he pushes on the clock, revealing a hidden door. He walks down the flight of stairs in front of him. As he gets to a light switch, he turns it on, revealing the Batcave. Everything was there. The Batmobile, the supercomputer, and even all the original bat suits. Terry goes to take a closer look at one of the costumes when he's hit from behind. It was the old man. Freaked because his secret had been revealed, the old man screams at Terry to leave, kicks him off his property. On his way home, Terry spots police cars surrounding his house. Thinking the worst, he runs to his house, finding graffiti sprayed all over the walls. It said one word: Jokers. Terry runs to his mother, which is when she tells him that his dad had been killed. Blaming himself for his father's murder, he starts to investigate how and why it happened. He is quick to think that his father wouldn't have opened the door for the Jokers, so something wasn't right. Going through some of his father's belongings, he found a disc. After viewing what was on the disc, he realizes that his dad knew about a deadly nerve gas that Wayne Powers, formerly Wayne Enterprises, was developing. This had to be why his father was killed. He just knew too much. Thinking he had no one else to turn to, and now knowing the old man's true identity as Bruce Wayne, he goes back to Wayne Manor. After Terry talks him into looking at the CD, Bruce realizes it's worse than he thought at his former company. Terry then suggests Bruce take care of the problem, and that's when Bruce says he used to be Batman, and for him to take what he found to Commissioner Barbara Gordon. Upset that Bruce won't help, Terry heads home. On his way home, he is almost ran over by a limo. Inside that limo is Derek Powers, CEO of Wayne Powers. He demands his CD be returned to him. Terry agrees, but throws the disc so he can get away. Without any other options, Terry goes back to Wayne Manor, but this time, he steals the bat suit. He takes his new suit for a spin to Wayne Powers to investigate further. He finds out Derek Powers is in a meeting about the nerve weapon. Listening in, he finds out that Fix, Derek's bodyguard, has something to do with his father's murder, and that a shipment of the nerve gas was going out that night. Then 3 guards show up to confront Terry. He jumps off the side of the building using all of his new suit's abilities. As he starts to pick off the guards one by one, he hears Bruce's voice. Bruce tells him that there is a radio receiver built inside the cow. He then tells Terry to return the suit and that he had no right to steal it. Terry suggests that no one was going to do anything, so he had to. After a few warnings to take the suit back, Bruce activates the suit's failsafe, paralyzing Terry. The guards start to beat Terry up. Not being able to defend himself, Terry pleads with Bruce to turn it off. Right when they're about to kill Terry, Bruce flips the switch, saving his life. Bruce then guides him to a broom closet with a secret door. Once Terry is safe, Bruce suggests him to take the suit back to him once again. That's when Terry tells him they are shipping out the nerve gas that night, and the guy who murdered his father was on the ship. This was his one chance to get him. Bruce agrees and guides him to where the hover transports are loaded. Once at the loading dock, Terry surprises Derek and Fix by flying down and taking out their guards with one massive hit. Just as he's telling them that his shipment is to stop and that Fix will be taken in for the murder of his father, a giant claw machine hits him from behind. It grabs Terry and starts to crush him, but he's able to throw a batarang and hit the driver, knocking him out. Fix tries to get the hover transport in the air, so Derek tries to buy him time by shooting Terry. Using his surroundings, Terry grabs a canister and hits Powers with it, knocking him back. That canister had the nerve gas, exposing Derek to the toxin. Terry then flies to the hover transport right before it takes off. He breaks in, takes out 2 guards, and confronts Fix. A fight starts. Fix, using electrified brass knuckles, hits Terry a few times. But when Terry gets the upper hand, he knocks Fix against the controls of the hover transport. This causes the ship to spiral downward, and right before it crashes into the ocean, Terry escapes. That was the last of the nerve gas. End of Fix. The next morning, Terry is awoken by his mother, saying Mr. Wayne was there to see him. That is when Bruce offers him a job, to be his assistant and ally. But he warns Terry that he could be a difficult taskmaster and that he accepts nothing short of excellence. And as you guessed it, Terry agrees. Flash forward 15 years later. Bruce is in bad health, needing a kidney transplant, and Terry decides to see if he's a match. The results come in as a shock. Not only is Terry a match for Bruce, but he is an almost exact match of Bruce's DNA. After a DNA test, it's proven that Bruce is actually Terry's biological father. Confused and thinking his whole life is a lie, he turns to the one person he believes has the answers: Amanda Waller. Not only did she create the Suicide Squad, but she was also in charge of Project Batman Beyond. Decades earlier, she was the government liaison to the Justice League. During this time, she came to the realization that Batman was the most important part of the team, having only one flaw: he was human. Thinking that the world would always need a Batman, she decided to take his DNA and insert it into a couple that matched the same psychology as Bruce's parents. That's where Terry's father, Warren, and mother, Mary, comes in. Warren was asked to come in for a routine flu shot, unknowingly getting the nanotech Waller created. This reconstructed Warren's reproductive material to match Bruce's. 1 year later, Warren's wife, Mary, gave birth to Terry. 8 years later, in order to guarantee Terry will go on to be Batman, she hires an assassin. The assassin isn't able to kill Terry's parents, realizing that killing his parents would go against everything Batman stood for. Waller then agrees and cancels the project. Even though the project was canceled, Terry did end up the Batman of the future. Thank you guys so much for listening. It really means the world to me. This podcast has really taken off since episode 1, and I have all of you to thank. So, thank you. If you did enjoy this podcast, how about reviewing it on iTunes? It really makes a huge difference. Also, join our Patreon at patreon.com/originpodcast. There you'll get instant access to Patreon-only posts, episode transcripts, and even bonus episodes, like the alternate timeline when instead of Terry working with Bruce Wayne, he works with Damian. It's pretty interesting. One last thing, if you want to stay up to date on everything Origin and never miss an episode, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Origin_podcast and on Facebook at Origin Podcast, all one word. See you next time.